Now here's US stand-up Doug Stanhope with his view on television. On television.
I like dumb television. I watch TV to go to sleep because I got a head that just won't shut the fuck up. It's just constantly going. So, yeah, I'll put on television at night just to shut my own head up. You get a nice voiceover from the History Channel or Discovery. It has that monotone, and that calms my head. As Hitler's blitzkrieg raged across Germany, we have footage of bulldozers. And you go, I can sleep. You guys started all that reality show dog shit. The Pop Idol, and that all came from Survivor and Big Brother. It all came from Europe. And we have American Idol. It's like they used you guys as guinea pigs for a lot of these reality shows. They came from here. Like, even American Idol sucked. You wouldn't listen to those songs if they came on by the original artist in your car. You couldn't kick the knob off your radio fast enough. As long as they make it into a competition, people watch it so they can get a vicarious win without taking a chance. You wouldn't watch opera, but if they made Battle of the Operas, you'd pick an opera and you'd hope that other faggy opera lost. Fuck your opera. Your opera sucks. Give me the phone, honey. I'm gonna call that 900 number. Get my opera in the back on there. People don't do anything for themselves anymore. You just much rather watch someone else do shit. You know, all these television shows that are like work related, like Monster Garage and American Chopper, and you're just gonna watch him work. You're watching someone else's shitty job. They used to have freak shows where if you were born with 10 heads or you had like webbed legs, they'd put you in a circus and they'd put you on a hay bale and people could look at you through a knothole for a quarter. But at some point they decided that was wrong. So instead, if you're a freak of nature, you go on all the daytime talk shows and the Oprahs and the Maury Povich or whatever. They put some harpsichord music behind you and then it's an inspirational story. What does that inspire me to do? This is sad. It's depressing. It just makes me afraid to leave the house. Like, I'll watch TV just to hate what I'm watching, as though there's not enough stuff in my actual life to go out and hate. Like, this show is a show about television, complaining about television, so you can sit there watching television going, yeah, he's right, I hate television. It's a good show. Ridiculous. Nobody does anything anymore. Fucking failing species.
Now here's American comic and alienated drunk Doug Stanhope with his view on fear in the US news media.
I'm Doug Stanhope, and that's why I drink. What is it that you're so afraid of, anyway? It's no secret to anybody that the news is just a constant battering ram of fear-mongering. If you want to be terrified, there's never-ending coverage that can make you scared shitless. Juvenile heart attacks. Could it be your child? Is someone masturbating in your sandwich at the local diner? You might not think so, but this horror movie graphic will change your mind. Can you get pig flu from pork chops? No. The calls are coming from inside the house!
Shots fired. Shots fired. 207.
You must get out of the house! Where's your teen right now? Probably getting the shit kicked out of him.
You make me so pissed!
People tend to blame the news as though it's their fault for spreading all this fear, as though there's no market for it. You can't blame the news for making you afraid any more than you would blame horror movies or haunted houses. That's what people are buying into. And the reason that people are buying fear so easily and stockpiling it is you'd much rather believe all that bullshit that, you know, immigrants are trying to take your job and pedophiles are trying to fuck your kids and terrorists are coming to blow up your Ford Focus in particular. That's far more palatable for people to buy than to accept the reality, which is that probably a statistical high Vegas odds probability is that nothing of any significance will ever happen to you in your entire boring life. You're not going to win the lottery. You're not going to get caught in gang violence or school shootings. You're not going to get date raped. I know you put a napkin over your glass when you go out to have a cigarette so no one slips something in there and fucks you later. Wasn't going to happen anyway. Nothing's going to happen to you. You'll fall in love. You'll break your heart. Later on in life, you'll settle for less. They're not so much of a looker, not real high on the personality scale, but they're stable. You can make a family with them, and you'll push out rotten kids, and you'll get some awful job. You'll give up your dreams and sit in a cubicle. Maybe in your 50s, they'll find some lump in the back of your neck that they have to just cut out, and your daughter flies home from college in the Dakotas to be there by your side. But by then they found out it's benign. It's an outpatient procedure that you'll still bring up every Christmas dinner like it was some near-death experience. Before you carve the turkey, Mary, I just want to say, after my little scare with the neck thing, it made me reevaluate my entire life. And now I realize how much my family means to me. And just to have you all here, I know I get choked up every time I talk about this. Nothing ever happened to you. Stop milking it. Nothing ever happened in your whole boring life. So shut up, flip on the news, and carve the fucking turkey.
The unseemly war of words between Conan O'Brien and Jay Leno may have sparked interest in the US media of late, but one man who'll be distinctly unimpressed, whatever the outcome, is our American correspondent and drunk Doug Stanhope, who's coming up now.
I'm Doug Stanhope, and that's why I drink. You know, more Americans get their news from late-night comedy talk show hosts like Leno and Letterman than any other news source. I don't know if that's true, but I've been told that. They say time plus tragedy equals comedy, and the networks have figured out how to boil that amount of time down to about 5 hours. It's part of the system in America where they spend all day ratcheting up this very important breaking news.
The president announced that he would send 30,000 more troops to that region.
This just in, Obama is sending 30,000 more troops to Afghanistan. Is he breaking a promise?
I'm Shepard Smith. The news starts with deployment orders for war.
And by 11 o'clock at night, some late-night buffoon in a suit comes on and tells you the exact same news stories, only he's got a funny punchline.
Hey, the Today Show was live from Afghanistan this morning. It went head-to-head with Afghanistan's #1 morning show, Good Morning and Death to America.
Thank you. Thank you. And that makes people, oh, it's okay. It's comedy. We'll just go to bed. Who cares if our kids are dying? Because he made it funny. I think that's why I've always hated that current events observational comedy, because there's no bloodlust in it. There's no rage. They just notice and move on.
Roman Polanski is out of prison. He's under house arrest in his Swiss chalet. You know, I saw something at his chalet I thought was really disturbing. Show the footage here. This is his actual chalet.
Months he's been locked up in a Zurich jail. And then when the Swiss court said if he posted $4.5
million... Look at the sign,
$1
kids stay free.
Hey, have you heard this in the news? Did you ever notice this? And you go, yeah, I have. It made me want to kill people. I want to buy a gun because of it. Who's responsible for it? Let's find the guy. Let's burn down his tool shed. Let's kidnap his kid. Let's send a message. What do we do next? Nothing? We don't do anything. We just notice and move on. That's good enough for you? I want someone dead. You know, Charlie Chaplin said something to the effect that humor is an act of defiance, that we must laugh in the face of our helplessness against the forces of nature or go insane. And where is he now? Dead.
Well, celebrities on the news are one thing, but what happens when the news makes its own celebrities? Here's American miserablist and drunk Doug Stanhope with his view.
I'm Doug Stanhope, and that's why I drink. Some people try to be celebrities. Other people have celebrity thrust upon them by the news. Charla Nash had it thrust upon her in the form of a 200-pound chimpanzee named Travis that ate her entire face. The news get a hold of the 911 call, which is absolutely horrific and terrifying, and out of some sense of moral obligation, a public need, they played the 911 call relentlessly.
Please hurry up! He's killing my girlfriend! He ripped her face off!
He ripped her face off?
Which is the responsibility of the news to let the public know. The public needs to be aware of impending dangers. A hurricane is coming your way. There's a blizzard. A gunman's on the loose. Or perhaps brazen primates are eating the faces of suburban housewives. So they played the 911 call over and over across the country until Charla Nash was an American celebrity.
She even has her own security guard to prevent the tabloids from taking photos.
Kyle Maynard was a kid who was a high school wrestler. He made the news because he happened to be born without arms or legs. Again, there's a very pressing need for the news to make us aware of these problems. Point is, he gets on the news, and now he's a celebrity who's doing mixed martial arts. Not very well. He's had one fight, and he was pummeled, as you'd expect. How can you ever look good punching this kid in the head repeatedly in front of an audience? They package these stories as human interest stories. It used to be, if you were born without limbs or a primate ate your face, whatever, you could go and make a decent living still on the freak show circuit, a carnival sideshow attraction. Step right up. Look at the boy with no arms and no legs, the human manhole cover. He's gonna wrestle Travis, the 200-pound face-eating chimpanzee. Step right up. Prepare to be horrified. It's a horrifying, terrifying event. Step right up. 2 bits. At some point, they decided that was insensitive, so now they put him on the talk shows. Oprah Winfrey, who is the P.T. Barnum of the new millennium. And instead of a freak show, they call it an inspirational story. Next on Oprah, the woman whose face was eaten by a monkey. She's exploited exactly the same way, only now Oprah gets the 2 bits that she should have gotten paid. And they play harpsichord music coming in and out of the piece, and they say it's a triumph of the human spirit, and Oprah lifts the woman's veil to show a poorly reconstructed face and dabs the woman's tears where her eyeballs used to be. That's not inspirational. What is that going to inspire me to do? Oh shit, if she can get her face eaten by a monkey and still go on Oprah, shit, I should get up and sweep off that patio. I'm inspired. No, that just makes me scared to leave the house.
The science behind climate change has been in the news again of late. Here's US stand-up Doug Stanhope with his somewhat misanthropic and, dare I say, confrontational take on what American coverage of environmental issues isn't telling you.
I'm Doug Stanhope, and that's why I drink. Sometimes the American news is like a tired old whore that only tells you what you want to hear. You watch stories every day about the environment and global warming, and they give you 1,000 cute little tips on things you can do to help Mother Earth, when the major problem is obviously overpopulation. That never comes up, ever. Even Al Gore has to be pressed on the issue to admit that it's even a problem, and he'll go, of course, overpopulation is a really big problem, but that's going to correct itself. And, by 2050, he says, I guess fucking will go out of style. It's just a passing fad, this desire to procreate. The news knows you don't want to hear that. The news has no problem telling you how to save the earth by cutting up your 6-pack holders before you throw them away so you don't strangle a dolphin when all that shit gets flushed out to sea. And that's fine. And turn off the water while you brush your teeth. And you go, I'll do that. They can't say, oh, and don't fuck in the front hole, because that glut of humanity you're creating is the real problem behind this. Nobody wants to hear, don't fuck in the front hole after a hard day at work. An Oregon State study just came out that shows that a woman who already recycles at her optimum will still increase her carbon footprint 40 times by just having 2 children. The next time you see a hybrid car with a baby seat in the back, smash the windows out of that car, Fight Club style, steal the baby seat, leave a condom where the baby seat sat, and see if you send a message. Because that is every sanctimonious douchebag who pretends to be part of the solution when they're the exact problem that they pretend to be fighting against. Your combined uteri wreak more havoc to the environment than 1,000 Dow Chemical Corporation accidents combined. You don't have the baby, you could drive an entire fleet of Hummers to and from work every day, hanging your ass out the window and farting styrofoam packing peanuts into the atmosphere and still not cause a fraction of the damage that one stupid baby causes to this planet. If you want to help Mother Earth, try sodomy. Sodomy is eco-friendly and abortion is green.
And now we head back live to the studio. Well, now it's time for our new Have Your Say section, in which you don't have your say. Instead, embittered comic Doug Stanhope does.
I I'm Doug Stanhope, and that's why I drink. Hey, what's your opinion about the news of the day? You think no one cares? They actually don't. But every day on CNN, Jack Cafferty pretends to care about what you think. Jack Cafferty is an ex-alcoholic windbag on CNN. He's like a defeated, low-rent Howard Beale that comes on every day with very strong, surly opinions about whatever the subject of the day is.
Well, why don't they renegotiate these damn trade agreements that send all these jobs to places like India and China and Mexico? Why don't they start there?
But his opinion isn't quite enough. He wants your opinion as well. Please log on to CNN.com and tell Jack how you feel about this.
Let's give those folks in Washington the benefit of our collective wisdom.
Because they want you to believe that your opinion matters. Makes you feel good. Yeah, I'm going to tell them what I think.
Ralph writes from Yakima, Washington.
And Jack will read the emails at the end of the show. They're always very, very insightful. Hey, Jack. I got a question. If we're going to bail out all these Washington fat cats, where's my bailout? They give you opinion polls about subjects you couldn't possibly have any basis to make an opinion. What's the likelihood of another terrorist attack now that Obama's in office? They'll put up big pie charts that say, 67% say it's very likely, and 30% say it's highly unlikely. 3% don't know. The big pie charts with 3% don't know. No, you all don't fucking know. That should be a giant pizza pie of I have no earthly idea. What that shows you is 97% of Americans will give you a strong opinion even though they have no fucking clue whatsoever about the subject. Everyone is so desperate to not only have an opinion, but make that opinion heard and think that opinion counts. You Twitter and you MySpace and you Facebook your stupid opinions and you spout off to your coworker. You know what I think? I think it's the liberals that are ruining everything. And that's not enough. So you go to town hall meetings and you yell and scream. They bang the gavel trying to get you to shut up. And that's still not enough, so you go home and then you write blogs in the middle of the night because you haven't had your opinion heard enough. You probably blog about this segment. Doug Stanhope ruined Newswipe. Why is that fat-headed alcoholic on this show? Get rid of him. And you know what? There's a good chance I might stumble across that blog one day when I'm sitting alone in some hotel room and I'm in the middle of the night and I'm drinking vodka and yogurt because I drank all the mixers out of the mini bar and the yogurt's all I have left from breakfast when I thought I could eat solid food, but I was wrong. And I'm gonna find the blog where you say I suck, and it'll hurt my feelings. So let me circumvent your blog before you even write it by answering in kind, go fuck yourself. I don't care what your opinion is. Jack Cafferty pretends to care. Go log on to his stupid show.
Meanwhile, down in the Gulf of Mexico, the Deepwater Horizon oil rig did a passable volcano impression and blew up, damaging a wellhead down in the SpongeBob department, which started vomiting a horrifying amount of crude oil into the sea.
Tony Hayward, played by Michael Sheen, because that's how fast the turnover is these days, quickly became the Fred Goodwin of oil and made a dick of himself in Congress, where he was interrogated by Lon Chaney and the cast of a 30s horror film.
Many Americans were distinctly unimpressed with the whole affair, none more so than US comic Doug Stanhope, who joins us now for a bit of fun complaining.
I'm Doug Stanhope, and that's why I drink.
Your hatred of American culture culminated with you spilling billions of barrels of oil into the Gulf of Mexico. And I understand, yes, you don't like America and we don't have a worldview and we think everything revolves around us. But it was a shitty thing to do. The entire summer was BP oil.
81 days in, with BP still using dispersants, the first glimmer of the price that will be paid.
Another day of the BP oil spill. Round-the-clock coverage of oil leaking. We have cameras on the oil spill, and now let's look at a close-up of the camera of the BP oil spill. Everybody's angry about the oil spill.
Man, you got to get down here and take control of this, put somebody in charge of this thing and get this thing moving. We're about to die down here.
They have coverage of
boycotts, people protesting BP gas stations. Well, you're irresponsible. You fucking drove to that boycott with a car. Unless you're boycotting petroleum, you're doing nothing. I have a list of things that I'm concerned with, and the oil spill is not going to make the list. There's a lot of other problems in the world. Maybe someone, Kevin Costner, is concerned about the oil spill. He built a machine. The news picked up on this stupid story and ran with it.
Meanwhile, the cleanup effort along the Gulf Coast, that is getting some star power. It is called the Kevin Costner Solution.
Every day was just unending coverage.
Those with a science background will find our machines easy to understand. They are designed to separate oil and water.
Don't they do that by themselves? I'm gonna build a machine that makes cats hate dogs. Dawn dish soap exploited this to a level that I found obscene. Dawn dish soap, just some dish liquid, had a commercial where they came out showing ducks or waterfowl of some kind coated in crude oil.
Not today, they're gonna wash away.
And if you see the commercial, you see a duck covered in oil. Unless you're a complete sociopath, you're probably pro-duck. You're rooting for the duck. But you think the commercial, it's an environmental concern. SaveADuck.com. Throw us $1. No, it's for Dawn dish soap. We get your silverware sparkly clean, and then we save a duck in our off hours. How obscene, how vulgar is that to exploit a tragedy of this level just to promote some dollar store dish soap? Is that not exactly the same as using a rape victim to promote a feminine hygiene wash?
They're gonna wash away this oil, I'm gonna take them away.
One American who wasn't massively impressed with the royal wedding was comedian and shambles Doug Stanhope, who joins us now for some whining in an accent.
I'm Doug Stanhope, and that's why I drink. Evidently, there was a big royal wedding that happened over here. I didn't hear about it personally because I was in the Antarctic somewhere with my head in a bucket of tar like a David Blaine trick for 6 months, so I didn't have to hear about it. Because it irks me that I spent 8 years coming over here under the George Bush regime with my head hung in shame, saying it's not my fault, it's not my fault. And the whole time not realizing you guys still have royalty? How embarrassing is that? You have queens and dukes and princesses. Do you have wizards and fairies and dragons? For God's sake, is this a country or a Renaissance festival? What kind of Dungeons and Dragons bullshit is that? I'm apologizing for George. How dare you ever make fun of any democratically elected official when you still have this Dark Ages nonsense going on?
August is traditionally a quiet month in terms of events, but 2011 had other plans. Following the shooting of Mark Duggan by police, feelings were running high in Tottenham, North London. And when a Saturday afternoon protest demonstration turned violent, TV quickly filled with disturbing scenes of wanton destruction and furious crowds. You know, just like it does at the start of a zombie film.
I was in London for the big riots. I was amazed anything over here could burn. In this damp, stone, brick, ugly, mossy rock. I'm amazed I can keep a cigarette lit outside. And I don't know why it happened. The riots happened for whatever reason they happened. They're trying to say it's a socio-economic thing, and maybe it is. I don't think so. Unless you had some kind of flat screens for the needy program that got chiseled out of the budgets. Take your little rioter at home and put him on your lap and explain to him. Go ahead, loot and riot and steal every flat screen out of that shop, you little hoodlum, you little chimney sweep, you little scamp. Fill your entire walls with flat screens everywhere you look, and all that's on is Friends and Top Gear. And with the hours you keep, you're going to get the episode with the deaf interpreter flailing away in a seizure in the bottom of your screen so you can't even pay attention to him. I've literally wet a napkin and stuck it to the lower quarter of my television screen so I could get through an episode of a show I didn't want to watch anyway. What you have to explain to your youth is their outlook is bleak regardless. It doesn't matter if you have money over here. You're in the United Kingdom. Your outlook is fucked.
April featured one of the nation's favourite sporting events, the Grand National, an event that does for horses what a horse-killing machine also does for horses. But never mind what I think about it, what might a drunker, more American cynic make of the Grand National? Someone like scrofulous drinkist Doug Stanhope.
I'm Doug Stanhope, and that's why I drink.
The Grand National is the sickest, most perverted thing where they take as many horses as will fit on the track and they cram them all into this line and then they go, how many horses will this track hold? We'll add 5 more. Fuck them. And they fire them off, and it's not just enough to run around in a circle. They gotta put obstacles. You put up fences and barriers and embankments with a moat. It's like Gallipoli. It's like World War I, where they're expecting a Turkish gunner on the other side, mowing them down. And these horses collide in this giant demolition derby equine massacre, and they do triple Lindy forward somersaults with jockeys flying off in the air, and they die. They die on the track, and no one gives a shit. And then the horses have to go around again and see their dead friend that they're trying to set up a big concession stand around so they can kill it right on the track. They don't even pause the race. Just kill them right there. Put up a little curtain like Angela's changing her nightie. And all the announcers sound like Tinker Tailor Soldier Spawn. Everyone talks like this.
They go over the chair, and the leader jumped it well and always right as a faller at the chair.
Well, we've lost another one. Oh, that one fell. Oh, that one stepped out. That one's gonna go smoke a fag, I believe. No, he's dying! He's mutilated!
And then, perilously close to Election Day, politics were temporarily blown aside by dramatic disaster movie footage as Superstorm Sandy smashed into New York.
Oh my God! A tree! It's a disaster. Terrible. Terrible, terrible. And we're going to be voting. I don't know how we're going to go out to vote.
New Yorkers, they always brag. We're the best city in the world, and we're the toughest, and I'm from New York. And yeah, you're a badass. Yeah, till you get a little rainfall, and then you going, oh, I've been 12 days without power.
Somebody get here, help us, please.
It was the opposite of after 9/11. They made a lot of news about, oh, New Yorkers are getting together, and for the first time, they're meeting each other, they're helping each other out, they're sharing their grief. Well, you should have kept that up and been nice to your neighbor for more than a week after 9/11. Because there's probably 10,000 people within walking distance that have power, but you've been a prick to them for the last 11 years, and now they fucking hate you again. Suck it, Mr. Soggy Socks.
Looking at all of that, it's hard to work out why anyone would want to even live in America anymore. Well, here's someone who does. It's US comedian and drunk Doug Stanhope. He's going to convince you that the USA is great, apparently.
I'm Doug Stanhope, and that's why I drink.
America is fucking great. And it really is. I know you don't want to hear this from me, but that's the truth.
Brits love to bitch about America, and they love to hate America. The government and the wars and the torture. But that's not life here. Come on.
Life in America is actually fantastic. Everything works. Come here. I want you to be here. Just get a nonstop from Heathrow, go directly to Florida, walk down that ramp, and tell me if you can't immediately sense something's really good here. Rent a car, get a convertible, fill up the tank.
Look at the price. Fucking $11 a gallon over there. Look at the price. You're gonna fill up your tank. You're gonna fill up the back seat as well. Just because it's that fucking cheap comparatively.
Drive down big empty highways, drive to the beach. There'll be a half a dozen cabana bars open. It's only 8 o'clock in the morning.
And they're waving at you. They're smiling at you, and they're waving for you to come on in. They want you to be there because they don't know yet that you don't tip. Come on in. Come on in.
Have a seat at the bar. She's going to hand you a big breakfast menu. It's this big. You know what we have for traditional American breakfast?
Choices! Yeah, lots of choices. You want some eggs? How do you want them done? We can do them 10 different ways. You want French toast? You want waffle? Pancakes? We have chocolate chip pancakes. They'll put a whipped cream smiley face right on there for your fucking British ass. Or maybe you want a whipped cream frowny face to match that dour expression. You're still trying to fight liking it here.
Order a cocktail, and she's gonna do something you've never seen before. She's gonna pour it like this, and she's gonna go up and down, and she keeps pouring it.
How can this possibly be right? In the UK, when you order a mixed drink, some scientist pops out of the floorboards in a lab coat, and he's a system of weights and measures, and a fucking stainless steel cylinder that assures that you will not get any more, even the vapors of more than 1 measured ounce in your fucking $15 cocktail.
Life here is really fucking good. Yeah, we have a lot of dumb people here, but you can afford to be dumb here. Everything makes sense.
You're lost. You don't know where you are. Where are you? 77th Street? Go a block. You know what's next? 78th Street.
It makes sense. You don't have to think. It's not like your roads that are all crisscross and mishmash, and they're all built 1,100 years ago for donkeys and carts, and you don't know where the hell you are or where you're going.
Hitler did his best to help the UK and level that country flat so they could start over like extreme country makeover. And what did the Brits do? They spat in Hitler's face and built it back brick by brick exactly the way it was 1,100 years ago when it didn't make sense.
Come to America. You can stay on my couch. If you don't like it after a week, I'll give you your money back.
Good old-fashioned British televised healthcare there, but what's American televised healthcare like? Let's ask an American, namely drunk comic Doug Stanhope.
I'm Doug Stanhope, and that's why I drink.
As I'm sure you're aware, we don't have a national health service here in America like you do. We either have to pay for it or we have to suck it up.
Fucking UK, they have nationalized health care. We have 300 channels of cable and TV doctors. You have to get the best you can do.
Yeah, we're chock full of TV doctors, doling out all the free advice you're willing to swallow. Have you heard of Dr. Phil? He's an Oprah Winfrey protege. The other day, we saw he had a 800-pound guy that had made a YouTube video of himself.
I'm just trying to get some help. Nutritionist, personal trainer, Dr. Phil.
Please help me, Dr. Phil, because I can't get out of my bed. So Dr. Phil, being a great doctor and all, he sends an ambulance directly to this poor fat prick's house, and they tow his bed into an oversized industrial ambulance, and they drive him directly to the studios.
As any medical professional would do.
Do you really believe that you can have a normal life and a normal body and a normal health?
Yeah.
When they run out of obvious advice, like plug up your top hole, fatty, you're eating too much, then they have to move into junk science. Now we just start inventing diseases. What, you're a hoarder? Oh, wait, that's not a habit. That is obsessive compulsive disorder.
And we have an expert here that can help you with it if you allow them to exploit you on TV for an hour. I watch Hoarders and I see shit I need.
Then we have the cottage industry of rehab television. You have Dr. Drew, and you have Addicted, and you have Cracking Addiction. Intervention is my favorite. Intervention is a show that's 58 minutes long of complete exploitation. It's just watching some poor prick stumble through his life and get fired from his job, and he's shooting up in a bus toilet, and now he's puking in a trash can and shitting his pants. That's the first 55 minutes, and then they cut to the intervention, and that's just the sad family sitting around reading these sappy letters that they wrote, like Hallmark greeting cards. This is the ways you've ruined my life, Bruce. You didn't show up for Sheila's bar mitzvah. Wah.
And then they whisk them off to rehab, where you go, okay, now this is where it's helpful. It's going to show us how they rehabilitate these people. Nope, that's the end of the show. Graphic at the end. Bruce hasn't drank since July 21st, 2009. Well, what'd you do in the rehab? If you're trying to help people, you might want to tell us what the fucking cure is. You skipped over that part entirely.
I'm just saying that if you're going to get your medical advice from a TV doctor, you might as well just get the advice from Dr. Dre or Dr. Seuss. Because at least that way the bad advice you get will rhyme.
You know who always comes across well? People in reality shows. And I'll tell you who agrees with that statement. Drunk US comedian Doug Stanhope.
I'm Doug Stanhope, and that's why I drink. At some point in the history of reality TV, they realized as long as we have one complete asshole on the show, people are gonna watch. I like to bring it back to Simon Cowell. Okay, we have a bunch of people who are gonna sing horrible songs so bad that you wouldn't even want to hear them from the original artist.
If fucking Daniel by Elton John came on my car stereo, I couldn't kick the fucking knob off of that quick enough to not listen to it. Why would I watch a show watching amateurs try? Oh, wait, because you have a guy that will humiliate and berate them into tears afterwards. Okay, now I'm interested.
I actually said to Paula when the song finished, what the hell are you supposed to say constructively after a performance like that? Whoopee.
So once they have that formula set, they realize we can use this in any setting for a reality show, as long as there's an asshole. Okay, we got American Chopper. You're watching people build a motorcycle. How interesting can that be? But wait, the father is a shithead, and he's really mean to everybody. Let's tune in again and see how this goes.
I'm gonna bend it and see if I like it. What we should have done is move these out, jackass.
When you watch reality shows, ask yourself, would I watch this in real life? Would I actually go to a pawn shop? Stand around waiting for someone to cash in their valuables to pay their fucking cable bill or buy more fucking rock? No.
But you would if you had added an imbecile like this fucking guy.
I just need $150, that's it.
Nothing.
You can't do nothing.
Nothing.
Like, there's so many of them, they have to have depleted the supply of dicks on the planet. Like, a lot of the shows don't even have really good, strong dicks.
People aren't dicky enough. You have to settle for a curmudgeon or a nitpicker. Storage Wars is a show where they bid on abandoned storage units. Their dick is a guy that outbids all the other people and jack up the price. And his signature dick move is when he bids, he'll go, yeah!
All right, if you're ready to go, I'm ready to go. I'm gonna be going 9 by 20 unit, $500. You give me 7.5 there.
Yes.
600, 700, 1,000, 11, 13.
That's all you got in this market? You need to go to dick school, my friend. You could take dick lessons from John Taffer of Bar Rescue. He's probably the biggest dick in American reality TV. Not only is his show a weak carbon copy of Kitchen Nightmares, who had an exemplary dick in Gordon Ramsay, he doesn't even know how to be a dick. All he knows is he has to be a dick, so he's just a dick all the time.
How dare you pick up raw chicken and then pick up cheese with your hand, pick up spices with your hand? Shame on you! Shut it down, nobody eats.
He's even an asshole when he's doing commentary, talking to the camera. He can't even turn it on. If these people don't shape up, I'll fire every one of them.
I can't contain myself. I had to go in right then and there and stop it. Billy's not a great employee. He's a lazy slob.
Why are you yelling at me, John? Don't rope me into this. I'm just a guy on my couch. Yell at those people. They're getting paid. All these shows have created a culture where people now want to be dicks. Kids are looking up at the TV going, I hope I could be that big of a dick someday. I don't have to go to acting school. I don't have to train and learn an instrument. I just have to be a really good fucking asshole. I want to be an asshole like that guy. Fuck Gary Oldman. That guy has to do work. This guy's on everything, and he's just a jerk off.
Isn't everyone on the internet horrible? Well, yes, they are. But here's someone who thinks that's just swell. It's US comedian and drunk Doug Stanhope.
I'm Doug Stanhope, and that's why I drink. Evidently in the UK, you have some vague, ambiguous laws about mean tweeting.
Where you can go to prison for being abusive on the internet. Where in the United States, being rude on the internet, that's the purpose of it. That's why you're on the internet. That's like making porn legal, but it's against the law to jerk off to it.
A lot of people are against mean tweeting because it's usually at your expense.
You're a big fucking man when you're sitting behind your keyboard, but you'd never say that shit to my face. Of course I wouldn't, because you would hit me. Why would I invoke violence when I can do it happily from the safety of my own home?
Point being, the internet is built for tragedy and inappropriate comments.
Tragedy, that's when comics come to life. Tragedy happens, comic has to spring into action.
You want to be the first on stage or on the laptop to make an inappropriate joke. That's what it's there for. Dead celebrities race to the internet. I can't wait. Whitney Houston, what do you got?
And then people go, that's too soon. And you go, no, they just died. It's perfectly timed. The news broke. I had the first joke on the fucking internet. How dare you question my timing? I'm a professional. Too soon?
For the first time in a celebrity's ego-driven career, they finally are dead and don't have to give a shit about what you said about them on the internet.
How limited is your imagination that not only do you believe in an afterlife, but you still think it has social networking? Where your dead celebrity's down there in line checking her iPhone. Well, I hope I better be trending at least. Well, that comment's a little off color. That's a little salty. Could have saved that till I was cold.
It's weird that the church can say, like, you're gonna go to hell if you masturbate. But if I tweet that your father is in hell because he masturbated, do I go to prison for that? Or am I covered under some Religious Freedom Act? I don't know. I'm not a barrister.
In May, a huge tornado ripped across Oklahoma, and in the aftermath, CBS News captured a heartwarming moment.
And I hollered for my little dog, and he didn't answer.
Dog. Hi, puppy. Dog.
Oh.
This being the Bible Belt, many thought this kind of thing demonstrated faith in action.
Well, I thought God just answered one prayer to let me be okay. He answered both of them.
But not everyone who survived the hurricane was God-fearing, as one notably illuminating exchange demonstrated.
I guess you got to thank the Lord, right?
Yeah.
Do you thank the Lord for that split-second decision?
I'm actually an atheist.
Oh, you are? All right.
If you think that didn't take balls, you've never been to Oklahoma. Saying I'm an atheist in Oklahoma is like screaming jihad at airport security. It took some nuts. And you watch the footage, all the other victims are on the news thanking Jesus for only killing their neighbors and not them, while a crawler is on the screen telling me where I can text money to help them out. Fuck them. I don't want Jesus getting credit for my $50. I'll help that other girl out, that CNN's exploiting. Hell yes. She ain't got no jeebus. She gonna need money. So I did. I started an Indiegogo fundraiser account, and atheists ended up ponying up over $126,000 just for little old her, and I couldn't get the smile off of my face for a week. And I didn't do it because I felt sympathy because she got all her shit destroyed by a tornado. I did it simply to be a prick to her oaky Christian neighbors, hoping that they were still eating off of FEMA trucks when someone drove up and presented Rebecca with a giant cardboard check. It's funny how hate can make you do real nice things every now and then.
PRISM apparently allowed America's National Security Agency to spy on almost everything human beings shared on phones or the internet. There hadn't been a more sinister Big Brother programme since the one where Nasty Nick hid a pencil. And yet the public largely shrugged. I mean, I shrugged because I'd always assumed some computer somewhere was logging everything we do, making a little animated paperclip pop up on some CIA guy's screen to warn him it looked like you were buying stuff to make a pipe bomb, or that you were just a bit of a wrong'un.
Thanks to Edward Snowden, now we know the government's listening to all your cell phone calls and reading all your emails. And for that reason alone, I'd be surprised if the NSA doesn't have the highest suicide rate of any occupation anywhere on this planet. I can't even go through my own emails.
Imagine the poor NSA worker who has to sift through all that nonsense bullshit you send each other. Ooh, forward. Here's 10 reasons a cucumber's better than a man. I knew you'd get a kick out of it. Someone's gonna spend their days reading that shit, listening to your cell phone calls. I have to listen to your cell phone conversations, just sitting in an airport bar and listening to you drone on at top volume about, yes, well, the doctors said that the warmer climate might be good for my fibromyalgia. Hello? Can you hear me? God help the poor bastard who has to eavesdrop on those conversations day in and day out. Keep that man away from sharp objects when he gets off the job.
Still, who cares what I think about immigration? Let's ask a foreigner, specifically US comedian and shambles Doug Stanhope. Here's his view.
I'm Doug Stanhope, and that's why I drink.
Immigration again? Really? Who is it this time?
Ooh, the Bulgarians are coming! The Bulgarians are coming! Bar the door and lock up the wives and hide the children and put your pants on backwards so they don't get their mitts in your zipper.
You know what? Honestly, I was surprised to find out the UK even had immigration law of any kind.
As shitty and miserable and dire an existence as you live, you'd think you'd welcome anyone willing to live there with open arms and ask them stories about the outside world. All the stereotypes you hear about immigration are always, oh, they're lazy and they steal and they don't speak the language. And then they turn around and go, and they're stealing our jobs. Yeah, Kevin, we'd like to keep you on. You've been great, but we just found a slovenly, illiterate thief. And we think he might do a little bit better than you, so you gotta go. Besides, I thought the Polish people already stole all your jobs. So maybe the Bulgarians are just gonna come in and steal Polish jobs so you can relax.
In the States, when we say immigrant, it's just another word for Mexican.
We live on the border in Bisbee. We see the fucking Border Patrol hustling all these guys up, 11 at a time, coming out of a Ford Tempo like a fucking clown car. I have to wander in the desert for 6 days and they just get over and they're dehydrated and filthy. Yeah, you're probably right. They don't speak the language and they probably have minimal education. And if that guy can show up like that, as qualified for your job as you are, you're a fucking loser of such dynamic proportions. I would be ashamed and humiliated if anyone found out that guy just took my job. How simple and menial a job do you have where they can do the job training in pantomime? Hey, come here, crank, 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 crank. Oh, see, crank, 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 crank. Yeah, you got it. Then you go. Oh, no. Yes, you're hired. You never hear people with legitimate skill sets complaining about immigrants taking their jobs.
You don't hear brain surgeons sitting around the Beverly Hills Hotel lounge going,
you know what chaps my ass, Patrick? These fucking Guatemalans come up here, don't speak the language, they steal all of our neurosurgery positions. Let's go thunder down some Jack Daniels and put on our steel-toe boots and go out tonight stomping guats. What do you say? And the Romanians. See, I don't even think that one's a real country. It's like from a fable or something. Shit.
America has got a fearsome reputation for violence, doesn't it? Well, yes, it does. But is it well-deserved? Well, one person who thinks it isn't is US comedian and shambles Doug Stanhope.
I'm Doug Stanhope, and that's why I drink.
America has a reputation for violence that we don't really live up to in real life. Of course, there's a lot of gun violence, and some of that's necessary, because guns are the great equalizer.
Guns level the playing field against assholes. You can be the biggest badass biker, MMA, street fighter guy in the world. They put you in a cage with any honey boo-boo with a shotgun. The Vegas odds are gonna alter drastically.
America promotes violence, and we make violent movies, and we exploit the shit out of violent news stories.
ABC's Jim Avila has our coverage of the deadly rampage.
But when it comes to day-to-day street violence that you see, is mostly all shit talk, braggadocio, chest bumping, everyone waiting for the bouncer to come in and break it up. As opposed to in the UK, where you're the most violent people I've ever seen in my life.
Where on any given Tuesday night when the pubs close, it's just like UFC in the streets. You don't know which corner to look at. Just people beating the shit out of each other for no particular reason even. It's not even, did you look at my girl? It's just, where are you from? Across the street? Fuck across the street. There's only one side of the street, yeah, just bashing themselves senseless.
I was in Manchester where I saw a poster, a public service announcement poster on a men's room wall, something to the effect of,
"Don't beat up ambulance drivers." I don't remember the specific text, but that was the gist of it, because evidently that's a thing over there.
I think the difference is, in the United States, we don't have free universal health care, and we do have guns. And that makes you think twice before you take a swing at a guy over a pool game.
I want to hit that guy, but even if I just chipped a tooth, that's like $1,500 to fix. I can't pay for that, and the guy might be packing.
Over there, you have free health care, and you don't have guns. So why not take the risk of beating each other's heads in like knotted gourds? At worst case scenario, the state picks up the tab to fix it.
Pop now and crooning haircutted pebble Justin Bieber's been in trouble with his alleged egg-throwing hijinks providing startling fodder for noisy entertainment shows.
A felony investigation into accusations that the superstar singer pelted his neighbor's home with eggs.
Frankly, I don't care what he does with eggs as long as he's not fertilising them. But are pop stars out of control? Well, US comedian and shambles Doug Stanhope thinks they're not out of control enough, and he'll say so now.
I'm Doug Stanhope, and that's why I drink.
You know what? Anytime you complain about the kids today, you know you're walking on dangerous ground of just being a pathetic old fuck. But I think I'm right. This is the weakest generation in recorded history. Justin Bieber made the news for pissing into a mop bucket in the back room of a nightclub.
TMZ got hold of some film of Justin Bieber relieving himself in a mop bucket.
That makes news today?
That's the coolest spot to piss. You know, you'll forever remember that.
That's so indicative of what a shit generation this is, where that's the rock and roll lifestyle. Oh. No, you're not Led Zeppelin chucking fucking TVs out of hotel windows while the drummer is dead in the pool. Oh no, Justin Bieber peed in a mop bucket. It was caught on a cell phone camera.
And I know every generation complains about the new kids coming up after them. But in the past, it was always complaining that the new kids were too out of control and taking too many chances. Oh, these kids today, they're smoking the marijuana reefer blunts. We're gonna be the first generation that's the opposite of that, where we'll still complain about the kids today, but in the opposite fashion.
Look at these fucking kids. We used to do crank off of titty dancers and shit. No one got hurt. It was a good time. These fucking sissies, they drink a Red Bull for some pep and some spirit. The closest they've ever come to a fist fight is on a message board.
You looking at my girlfriend? I'm gonna unfriend you from my Facebook registry. No, you have some block user coming in your future. I better delete the part, because I might get my wall shut down.
But is it fair that such physical daredevilry is celebrated? Well, no, in the personal view of US comedian and shambles Doug Stanhope, who'll explain why now.
I'm Doug Stanhope, and that's why I drink. It seems like the old-timey stunt shows of years gone by have been reinvigorated and are making a comeback, where you got Nick Wallenda tiptoeing across the Grand Canyon on a tightrope. And he did it well, almost too well, to the point where it didn't even seem dangerous at all, which kind of sucked all the gas out of it. If there's little or no entertainment value other than just hoping that you die, I might as well watch you walk down the highway and pray you get hit by a car. And speaking of praying, oh my God, did you do a lot of praying out there, which the cameras caught every 10 feet you stop and pray to Jesus. Thank God you were mic'd up.
Oh, I praise you, Jesus. Calm those winds in the name of Jesus. Praise you, Jesus. Yes, Jesus. Yes, Jesus.
While you were doing all that praying, remember, there were a million of us praying that you would fall spread eagle on your balls on the wire, spin upside down, and cascade into the Colorado River where you would be nothing but catfish food. But why is it your daredevil stunts get you all sorts of applause and accolades? Why do the same rules not apply to me? I take unnecessary risks with my own life all the time, usually with my brain and chemicals. I'm out doing mocaine in the desert.
Mocaine is when you grind up your mushrooms in a coffee grinder and then chop them up with your cocaine. And I wouldn't suggest that kids try that at home either. It's the worst mistake you'll ever make. How is that any different than some asshole extreme sports douchebag that's, oh, hey, Mount Hood has got a big dangerous snowstorm coming in, so please don't go up there, and you race up there on purpose and you get buried in an avalanche, and oh God, the National Guard's out looking for you, and everyone clears out of the bar and they're sticking pool cues in the snowbanks hoping to hit hot meat to save you. I spin out in the middle of Death Valley on mocaine. No one's coming to rescue me.
Am I heralded? No, I'm looked at as a bad example for other people to learn from. Don't do that, because you're an extreme guy, and your adventure and daredevil antics, they give you rock hard abs. And what do I get on my adventure out on hallucinogens in the desert? Nothing but maybe some deeper insight and some empathy for the human condition. And what's that worth, really? Not shit.
Culture now, and it seems a lot of what we watch on TV doesn't have anything to say. Well, some people don't think that's a bad thing, namely US comedian and shambles, Doug Stanhope. Here he is.
I'm Doug Stanhope, and that's why I drink. They always said Seinfeld was a show about nothing. And I enjoy that concept, because that's what I look for in a TV show. Nothing. At this age, I don't want to learn anything. I don't want to have to care or pay attention. That's why I try not to read books, because it gets you all thinking and stuff. Who needs that? But even Seinfeld could not have imagined the levels of nothing that television could one day reach. Nobody does nothing better than the Norwegians. They've mastered a concept they call slow TV. One show that's 12 hours long about knitting, nothing but relentless knitting. That is paradise to me.
They put cameras on a cruise ship in Norway and filmed an entire 6-day voyage, 134 hours, one episode. I would have watched that show in my cabin on that cruise ship. Thanking God I didn't have to lift my neck all the way up to the window to see this. I could just see it's right here on TV. I hope we don't dock before this is over. I need to know how this cruise ends.
If only I could make these segments about nothing. Because this is not really who I am. I'm not this angry all the time. Do you think this is what I do at home? Get drunk and go, ah? No, that's why I only do half a dozen of these segments a year. The rest of the time, I'm kind of all right. I'm not like a Sean Hannity who's going to be angry and outraged every goddamn night.
I'll bet you $10,000, your charity versus mine, that Congress has a special subsidy the American people don't have. Look, you going to take the bet, Congressman?
Let's talk about
Are you going to take the bet? Are you going to take that bet?
No, I only
because you're
bet with
lying.
people
That's
who are
why.
straight.
How do you live like that, Sean? Relax. Just grab a drink and settle down. There's nothing going on, and you're missing it.